Is Jordan Seaton available for Week 14 game? Deion Sanders gives multiple injury updates. The more Colorado's season has dragged on, the more the injury report has started to feel like a weekly reminder of everything Deion Sanders has had to battle in year 3. And nowhere is that pain felt more than on the offensive line, where the absence of Jordan Seaton has stretched the Buffs thin at the worst possible moment. His loss has not just been a missing name on a list. It's been a gaping hole in Colorado's protection, leadership, and identity. For 2 straight games, the sophomore left tackle, already an All-Big 12 performer with more than 800 snaps under his belt, has been sidelined by a lingering foot issue. Colorado hoped this week would bring clarity, maybe even optimism, as the Buffs prepared for the season finale. Instead, Thursday's questionable designation turned into a grim Friday update. Seaton was officially ruled out, and with that, whatever faint hope Colorado had of stabilizing the line for one last push against Kansas State evaporated. Seaton, at 6'5" and 330 pounds, had earned the Buffalo Heart Award just days earlier, a testament not just to his dominance, but to how he carried this team when everything else was cracking around him. His simple message, "Thank you, Buff Nation," felt like both gratitude and goodbye, at least for now. His absence leaves a massive void, especially for the development of Julian Lewis, the young quarterback who is supposed to represent Colorado's future. Without Seaton, the Buffs must again attempt to hold the pocket together with tape, trust, and young players thrown into battles they weren't meant to fight this soon. But even in the gloom, Colorado got a flicker of hope when safety Tawfiq Byard and wide receiver Joseph Williams were upgraded to probable. Byard has been the heartbeat of the defense, fighting through a previously broken hand only to re-injure it last week. If he can play, he finishes his season leading Colorado with 78 tackles, a testament to his toughness and instincts. Williams, meanwhile, has become one of the team's most reliable and underrated weapons, turning limited opportunities into momentum-shifting plays and emerging as Colorado's leader in receptions. Their possible return lifts spirits, but it barely offsets the avalanche of bodies Colorado is losing. Defensive tackle Amari McNeil and end Keaton Wade, 2 veterans whose college careers likely come to an end this weekend, are listed as doubtful. Safety Carter Stoutmeyer remains out for the 4th straight game, ending a season that once promised so much growth. Redshirt freshman Brandon Davis-Swain and offensive tackle Larry Johnson III are fighting to be available, battling injuries that simply won't let go. Even the cornerbacks, RJ Johnson and DJ McKinney, whose returns have been long anticipated, are stuck in the purgatory of possible but uncertain, leaving Sanders no choice but to lean on inexperienced players who've been learning on the fly all year. This final game has become less about bowls, rankings, or records and more about survival. One last chance to show resilience despite the fractures, bruises, and emotional fatigue of this 3-8 season. Deion Sanders continues to preach belief, discipline, and determination, but even he knows the reality. Colorado must finish this season relying on depth players, true freshmen, and whatever pride remains in the locker room. They will walk into this finale battered, limping, patched together by trainers and tape, but still fighting, still swinging, still searching for something to hang their helmets on as the long rebuild continues into the winter. And yet, despite everything stacked against them, there remains an unmistakable current of pride running through the Colorado program, a stubborn refusal to let the story end with injuries and frustration. Deion Sanders has been honest about the toll this season has taken. He has acknowledged the misfires in the portal, the bad luck with injuries, the inconsistencies that have defined the year, and the personal battles he fought during the offseason. But he has never lost conviction in his belief that Colorado is building towards something bigger than the present pain. Moments like this final week are where that conviction gets tested the hardest, because it is easy to lead when the roster is healthy, when momentum is rolling, when your best players are on the field and your fans are echoing every word. It is much harder to lead when the injury report looks like a depth chart and the scoreboard keeps reminding you of your deficiencies. What Sanders has tried to instill, through every setback, every missed opportunity, every game that slipped away, is a foundation that can withstand adversity. And this week may be the truest test of that foundation. Without Seaton anchoring the line, the offense must adapt. Without McNeil and Wade anchoring the front, the defense must scrap and fight with younger pieces. Without Stoutmire patrolling the secondary, the back end must find discipline and chemistry on the fly. The coaching staff has to piece together a game plan built not on idealism but on availability. The players have to dig deeper than they ever have in a season that has already demanded too much of them. And the fans, those who continue to believe in the long-term vision, must cling to the glimpses of potential, the flashes of promise, the moments of toughness that hint at what Colorado could eventually become. In many ways, this finale is not just about playing Kansas State. It is about proving to themselves that despite everything, injuries, fatigue, frustration, disappointment, they can still line up and compete with heart. Sanders has repeatedly said he wants fighters, not passengers, and this game will reveal who is built for the grind ahead and who merely survived it. Even the younger players, thrust into starting roles out of necessity rather than readiness, have a chance to turn this hardship into growth. The return of Byard and Williams may give the Buffs a spark, but it will take more than two players to steady a roster that has endured blow after blow. Colorado must find unity in adversity, composure in chaos, and pride in a moment that will not define their program but could define their character. And for Sanders, this game is more than just a finale. It's another reminder that building a roster, a culture, a belief system takes time. Takes painful lessons, missed gambles, hard conversations, and yes, seasons like this one. He has never shied away from the work ahead, nor has he backed down from the vision he has sold since the day he arrived. Saturday is not about salvaging a season. It's about reinforcing that the climb is still ahead of them, and that every player who steps onto that field, whether a star or a stand-in, is part of the long, messy, demanding process of turning Colorado into what Sanders believes it can be. And when Sanders looks across his locker room this week, he sees more than a battered roster. He sees the beginnings of the identity he wants Colorado to embrace. Not the flash, not the headlines, not the hype that defined the early days of his arrival, but the grit that sustains a program through storms like this. These final practices, not glamorous, not high stakes, not surrounded by national cameras, are the ones where a program quietly grows up. Players who were buried on the depth chart in August are now being asked to play meaningful snaps. Veterans who know their time is running out are trying to squeeze one more moment of pride out of a season that broke more than it rewarded. And the staff, bruised by criticism and humbled by results, is focused on finishing with the integrity Sanders demands. If Colorado can walk off that field in Manhattan having fought with urgency, discipline, and heart, it will not erase the disappointment of 2025, but it will send a message about who they intend to be when the rebuild accelerates again. Because for Sanders, this season was never meant to define him. It was meant to refine him, his staff, and every young man still willing to buy into the climb.